Hi, welcome back to Gallon Sector. Now, I already did a reaction video to the Captain America Civil War Trailer 2 trailer. And it was fantastic. It was everything that I wanted. It was everything I needed. It was more. But now I'm going to talk about things that happened in the trailer that we saw and just give a little bit more insight. To comic fans, you already know most of these things and you probably caught a lot of this. But people who aren't comic fans and just fans of the movie, or if you are a comic fan and you just don't know too much, here's where we discussed what we saw and what's possibly going on, what makes sense, what doesn't, and whatever, just what we like. First, that big station that we saw come out the water. I happen to believe that it looked like it had holding cells inside, the image that they show right after the station comes out the water. I believe those are holding cells. And I believe that is Prison 42 or Plan 42, Project 42, whatever you want to call it. In the Civil War comics, Reed Richards and Tony Stark came up with a list of like 100 different things that they could try to come up with to settle or to handle the ongoing war that was happening, breaking out between superheroes and the government and superheroes amongst themselves. And number 42 happened to be a prison in somewhere called the Negative Zone, which is in a different universe. And they were locking up, it didn't matter if it was heroes, but mostly villains. They were locking these people up and keeping them there. And so they can come up with a solution for what's going on, because these people were just causing too much chaos and making things harder for everybody. That's what they believe. It was a really, stupid move on their part, because a lot of people start turning against them. It's like, you can't do this to people. You can't just take matters in your own hand and decide what's best for people. But I believe that's what that was in the water. I believe that's, same thing, same concept. I don't know if they're going to call it Project 42, Prison 42 or whatever. But it has some resemblance to that, and it makes sense. It still makes sense being in this movie. No Thor, no Hulk in the movie, which makes sense because both of them were absent from the Civil War event in the comics. And if you think about it, Hulk, if he starts getting enraged, he's going to be hard to control, and it'd be hard and difficult to see what side he'd be on. He'd probably be against everybody, and it really would be a tough task taking him down. Besides, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I think we're going to see Red Hulk. Chill out, people. They don't work that fast. We don't got enough time to explain all that. I mean, just try to be logical here. Like, geez, see Red Hulk? And you probably wouldn't see enough of him to the point where you'd be pleased. But anyway, yeah, no Thor. There was a Thor, like a clone of him that was an android that Tony Stark and Reed Richards created. I think mainly Tony created him. He was a presence, he was a force, but Hercules destroyed him, at the end of a Civil War in the comics. Yeah, Hercules. Black Panther had some great action scenes. All the sequences with Black Panther were great. All of them. I mean, they showcased his speed. They showcased his agility. Every scene that you saw him, he was just like a presence, a force. And you can really feel it, that he's just somebody you just don't want to be standing in front of you or chasing after you. And he's chasing after Bucky, isn't he? He is not letting up. And you can also see when they're on that rooftop, it seems like the helicopter's shooting at them and the bullets just bounce off them like ping, ping. I mean, it didn't make that noise, but his suit has vibranium in it. Wakanda is his nation. He's king of that nation, and it's the capital of where they find vibranium, and he has it, and it's in his outfit, and he can absorb energy. He can absorb impact without taking too much damage or none at all. But I love what they've shown from Black Panther. Oh, it's going to be so great to see him on there. No Baron Zemo in this trailer. I'm not too mad about that, but it would have been nice just to see a flash of him. But you know what? He's not wearing the mask in this. I read that somewhere in an interview or something. And it kind of bothers me sometimes. I wouldn't mind seeing Hawkeye wear a mask. He doesn't have to wear it the whole time. Baron Zemo can wear the mask just at least one shot. Hey, the movie's still turned out great anyway, but it's just a good bonus. It would have been a good bonus. I love that scene where Iron Man's like, stand down. This is your last warning. And, Cap's doing his... I can do this all day.
Final warning. I could do this all day.
Like when they're fighting and you can see Cap's bleeding. I mean, that's what he did in the first movie when that bully in the movie theater was talking too much and took, Steve out back and handled him. But Steve's like, I can do this all day. That was great to see that. Tony's probably getting the best of him at that part. And that's why he's doing that. Now, Spidey. Yes, I'm going to call him Spidey. Been a Spider-Man fan since the 80s, since I was born. Yes, the 80s. And I have the right to call him Spidey. Okay, he's my favorite superhero. He's been my favorite superhero since like the early 90s. 91 probably. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Spider-Man. They revealed him. Tony calls him in. He's like, under rules. And that's, for some people who don't know, that's underwear is a term they use, a nickname for underwear. And he's calling him that because he wears a skin-tight outfit, looks like underwear, pajamas. And it was cool. He calls him in. He takes Cap's shield with Webbed, webs up Cap's hands. He lands on top of that little tug, and he's holding the shield, and he's just like, hey, everybody. And his eyes, they seem to be some kind of shutters, like they can close and open up. I mean, definitely it seems like there's a lot of tech to his suit. And that's okay, because it was said that he has 2 suits in this film, and it's probably the one when he first meets Tony, and that's probably the one Tony and him worked on together, or Tony gives to him, or whatever. But I like the suit. It's a little mixture of something classical and something new, and it's great. I like it. I mean, it looks good to me. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look terrible. That outfit in Amazing Spider-Man 1 was terrible. I understand what they were doing. They wanted to give him an outfit before they get to the one we all familiar with. I'm not really a fan of the spider emblem they had on Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the really long legs. I really don't like that. I like something a little bit more classic. But the outfit looked great in Amazing Spider-Man 2. This one looks good. I don't care. It's Spider-Man. He's great. It doesn't look horrible. It could be Bagman, people, with just a bag over his head and the Fantastic Four outfit. I think the whole trailer was great. It makes sense that he's on Tony's team because 10 years ago, Iron Man first became public to the whole world, especially to the nation, and he was one of the first superheroes to really be known about. And at this time, Spider-Man was, he's going to be 15 in this movie, or around 15 or 16. At this time, he was about 5 or 6 when Iron Man first appeared. So almost every kid probably looked up at him like, oh my gosh, the superhero, Iron Man, Iron Man. And they're both really into science. They're both geniuses. And that makes sense. So I think Tony's going to seek him out, and he's going to be a big fan, and they end up, it makes sense he would be on his team. He's going to trust him, look up to him, like a mentor. But anyway, that's my recap of what we saw in the trailer. There's a lot of other things that we could have probably saw in the trailer, but I just wanted to run through some stuff real quick, just talk about it. So anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will always try to make it interesting, and I'll see you next time.
You just started a war.